Poor General Franco, who would dearly love to bring Gibraltar back into the Spanish fold before he dies, really seems set to carry out a blockade on the border. It's a matter of national pride. After all, Gibraltar is geographically part of Spain. It sticks out into the sea from the southern coast of Spain like an accusing index finger. After all, Spaniards say, how would England like it if Portland Bill belonged to the Russians, or the Isle of Wight to the French? The answer, they say, is that we wouldn't, and neither do they. The British answer is that Gibraltar became British by conquest in 1704. 9 years later, in the Treaty of Utrecht, the King of Spain signed away the rock, town and port of Gibraltar to England forever. But not the hinterland, the campo as the Spaniards call it, which extends from the castle walls to the Spanish town of La Línea, which you can see in the distance. This is the sandwiches. Spanish customs began closing down an hour and a half early and even charged duty on all. In the pre-nuclear age, Gibraltar was the key to the Mediterranean. Whoever held the Straits of Gibraltar controlled the entrance to the Mediterranean and the route to Suez and the Far East. But in the nuclear age, when the one hydrogen bomb could shatter the rock into 1,000,000 pieces, Gibraltar is expendable. It's still useful in a conventional role, but anything Britain can do, the United States can do bigger and better from its giant base at Rota, only a few miles away. The symbol remains, but the substance has gone elsewhere. Association, Gibraltar may be expendable. But what would happen to the 20,000 Gibraltarians if the base is scrapped and the rock handed over to Spain? What sort of people are the Gibraltarians? Their motto is, British we are, British we stay, and some unkind wrongs that the British will pay. Gibraltar's income tax is 100 times less than the British, which allows Gibraltarians to have one car between 3 families and one television set between an island. The trouble began 2 years ago when the Spanish authorities dropped their usual easygoing manners and introduced a series of pinprick measures aimed at making crossing the border may then be closed completely. If this is true, it will be in fact the more difficult. Customs formalities were tightened up to the point where motorists had to wait as long as 10 hours to cross the border. The trips daily with their menfolk were suddenly told by the police to stay at home. area in dispute, and it includes the airport, which serves as RAF base and civil terminal. Britain claims it is hers as far as the border fence, only 200 yards from the actual runway. Beyond are the Spanish fortifications and La Linea. Visitors left wondering if Gibraltar's patriotism is genuine, or is it rather too good to be true? What's your objection?
Number of votes cast for alternative course A, 44. Number of votes cast for alternative course B, 12,138.
Democratic, free manner, in an orderly way, worthy of the most civilized and best conducted community in the world.
Are a small flotilla of minesweepers in mothballs.
Well, the first action this morning was to have an emergency meeting of all the agents, and we found that by pulling all the labour force, which is very much reduced, into one massive labour force of 43 men, we can actually rotate them to keep this project going.
Are you going to have to bring in people from England?
We are having to, and we're sending somebody off tonight. We just happen to have a visiting architect from our group. He's going back tonight to make the necessary arrangements.
I don't think that the fact that 4,500 workers have been withdrawn means that we need the same number of bodies. So we've got to assess exactly how much of it could have been surplus.
Why do you feel so strongly now about remaining British?
Well, I mean, this is ingrained in us, in our way of life, but to take the latest example, if you see the considerable suffering that the Spaniards have imposed upon their own subjects by depriving them of their livelihood and taking away their jobs when they can't get jobs in Spain, and you see how they treat their own subjects, how could we expect to be treated any better, apart from our own question of principle? I've seen people suffer and cry yesterday and today. It's pathetic how these people are going back to their own country, not knowing where the next meal is going to come from.
What do you think Britain should do now?
Well, first of all, we want to feel that they're with us on our difficulties, and there may be other things tangible which we may be asking Britain to do, but as yet we haven't really come to a definite conclusion what we want them to do immediately insofar as help is concerned. But we would like to feel that they are with us, both the government and the people, and that we can rely on them to support us if it comes to needing their help, as I'm sure it may well come pretty soon.
Are you satisfied with the backing you're getting from Britain?
Oh, so far, yes, very much so. From Britain, from the government, from the people, from the press, from radio and television, everybody. I think they realize that we are fighting for something which we think is worthwhile and that we have their support.
Hey, put Ben in as well. He's put his name down as well. There's another chap as well.
Well, I think many volunteers we've got is because they want extra money, a bigger pay packet at the end of the week.
It's a chance of extra money. There isn't anything especially patriotic about this.
Well, there might be a slight bit, but I think the question is extra money for themselves.
The government's obviously taking these signatures you're getting pretty seriously. It's going to wait till they get them before they decide how many more skilled people they need to produce. Do you think you're going to be able to cope with the immediate situation?
Well, in the short term, yes, we'll be able to cope with it, because I intend to propose into government that the paralyzed building trade should be taken over by people working after hours, starting at 6 and carrying on until 12, these are the people I've got, the Moroccans I've got for part-time workers, so that we could stop this paralyzed of the labor we've got here.
Now, why wasn't all this name-taking done before the emergency? Why didn't all this happen beforehand? Why weren't you prepared?
Well, I mean, since started to be prepared, but I believe our government never thought this would happen. I mean, subconsciously they knew it would happen, but they didn't want to believe this thing would happen. And now they're faced with a problem, which, thank God, has been solved due to the initiative of Gibraltarians and the willingness of coming forward and start organizing things like we've done, other associations have done too.
Britain's said already, of course, that it's right behind Gibraltar, as it's always said it is, but it hasn't done any more than that. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, this is the usual British tact, saying that they are behind us, that they support us, they feel what we have, and Gibraltar carries on being British, but this is not really good enough for the Gibraltarians. We want some action taken, because we don't know, ever since the restrictions started and the actions taken against Gibraltar by the Spanish government, we've always had this statement by Michael Stewart, or whoever's been in power. And now we want something strong, we want something positive taken
like
by
what?
Well, I would say yes, that the British government should impose a special tax on British tourists going to Spain.
Well, one of the problems surely must be that these ladies who are helping you out now are only working part-time.
Yes, this lady's a part-time job, yes, this one.
But are you ever going to be able to get enough help to
Yes,
take on people
of course,
full-time?
yes, of course.
You aren't worried about it?
No, we're not worried about anything, no.
How are you coping with looking after a family as well as working the shop?
It's fine, because I think I'm very quick with doing my food and everything, you know. I cook at night, do my washing at night, and then in the morning I'll go to straight up the beds and come back to the shop, you see.
You sound as if you're really quite enjoying it.
Oh, yes, I am.
Have you ever worked before?
No, never worked in my life, because my father has a business, so I didn't have to work. And I'm enjoying to help my friend a lot.
Do you think the ladies in Gibraltar will be able to keep things going before a full-time staff can be assembled for everyone?
I think so, yes, because before, you know, when they took the men off, you know, the women, they used to come, you know, and they do the washing and everything. So now we've got our machines for everything, you know, the Hoover too, and you know, I think everything is more accommodated to the house.
You think the crisis may mean a new deal for women?
Oh, yes, I think so. You know, I think we finish our work at home very quickly. So now we've got more spare time to do anything we want.
Oh, hundreds of them.
Is the problem getting people or finding places for them to work?
No, actually, it's finding places for them to work.
Now, why is that? There's supposed to be a labour shortage.
Yes, but some employers seem to be quite a bit reluctant to employ women.
Of course, not many women have really worked on Gibraltar before, have they? It's not very traditional here, is it?
Not up to the last 2 years, no. No, they usually stayed at home, but now they're taking up jobs. Most of them have jobs anyway, so they're mostly trying to get part-time jobs.
Do you think this latest emergency is really going to help women on Gibraltar really come into their own a bit?
Certainly. That's just what we've been waiting for, I should think.
You speak as a very strong feminist.
Yes. Well, as a president of the Housewives, I think that's the way I should be, really.
But are these ladies who are mostly doing part-time work, as you say, really going to be able to replace all the Spanish workers? That's not possible, surely.
Not in the long term, no. We'll probably need some imported labour, but for the moment we're coping quite nicely, I should think.
How do you feel about the present emergency? It seems to me that Gibraltar's absolutely calm and very, very normal, and people are really quite enjoying things.
Yes, they all take it in their stride. We've all done what we can, or still doing what we can, and lending our shoulder to the wheel, shall we say.
Do you think it will be any different if Spain takes even tougher measures?
No. We'll never give up. Never. We'll always be the same.
Venga, Salvador, escucha muy bien a la gente. Venga, tocámoslo. Echa un cartucho muy grande.
Hoy ponte la mascarilla a la vaca.
Venga, alégrate. No quiere que mire, no quiere. Esto ponelo para la playa. Venga, más gente para acá.
It's not a question of comfort or of an easy way of life. It's a question of principle and of attitude, and we are not prepared for whatever the restrictions may be to accept the Spanish way of life under any circumstances, and that, I think, is the attitude of everybody, whatever sacrifices are entailed.